conversation with the mission. I disappeared from myself. The heart broke for caring too much about the prestigious work. I disappeared from myself. I became a stranger reimagining who I once was. I started a pilgrimage in the self-sabotage of the mission of fitting into tasks. The pilgrimage to avoid my fragmentation. The ego was scared of the power of many and multitudes, wrestling all along with the many voices within. The voice of the young exiled me, the voice of the achiever, and the voice of the whisper singing in poetry. The whole is me, in conversation with myself, in conversation with the world. I'm now inviting you to join me and make your own pilgrimage outside the scenes and the characters of my own and within your own self and soul, seeking for your many and multitudes. In conversation with the mission. Well, what poetry has to do with an event on the professions of the future? Did you all come here to listen to poetry or talk about business? Adding poetry to business supports all of us in attending our humanity, in making sense of what moves inside and outside of us, in listening carefully to the needs business is trying to solve. It supports us in making sense of the multitudes, our unique human multitudes, and the universal multitudes of a global world. What are my multitudes? A scientist by background, for the love of well-being, a poet by vocation, for the love of truth, a businesswoman, for the love of resolution. I spent years on the path of embracing all those multitudes. Whitman said, I am large. I contain multitudes, a celebration of both the unique and the universal. It reminds us that we are more than just one thing, including those facets we carve out in order to fit in. As a young scientist, I would spend hours in the lab searching for the truth hidden in a chemical reaction. And as a child, entire afternoons passed by writing poems in search of that truth within the world I was just trying to understand and make sense of. The work of a poet and of a scientist, it is the same. They both seek for truth. They both ask us to broaden our awareness and become more conscious. As a business executive, I also see the relationship between business indeed and poetry. Poetry, through the visualization of images, sounds, emotions, experiences, brings a diversity of meanings, all coexisting in the mind and the heart of authors and readers at the same time. Poetry brings within itself a desire for closure and resolution. And this desire is the common ground with business. Along the way, there was my corporate job, my academic life, the achiever, the doctor, and then there was poetry, but never integrated. It was my way to hide my truth, to protect my multitudes from being misunderstood. In so doing, I excite the creative, truer, more human part of me for the benefit of fitting into a family, a community, a job. It was like asking a rainbow to pick just one color and be blue. Why not? We cannot innovate business on the principle and premises of the past. Together, we need to reimagine the future of work and give birth to a business model that serves all humankind. We live in a world where change is happening at a speed that we have never seen and impacting with unprecedented scope. Technological changes we have seen in the workplace are only the shadow of what we will be seeing in the next 15 to 20 years, and the impact will reshape all of our careers. 65% of children entering primary school today will cover roles that currently do not exist. And what is the status of business today? According to Gallup, in the United States, only 32% of employees report of being engaged. And worldwide, this number drops to 13%. 40% of the entire workforce reports of being in very stressful jobs, having an impact on their finances, family, relationship, health. Didn't technology and automation promise all of us that we would have worked less and smarter? Yet, the reality is we all work, on average, 20% more. Why? Because we are constantly connected to social media and mobile devices. If we look at redefining business as the journey of humankind development, we clearly see unfolding the journey of the soul, our soul, and the soul of our business together. More and more, we will buy experiences, and we already do, rather than products. In a recent report published by PwC in 2016, Reshaping the Workplace, millennials were interviewed. In this report, it's clearly stated that engaging, retaining, and managing executive talents, it is not dependent on compensation packages, rather on the capacity of creating a sense of belonging. Organizations capable of giving relationships, experiences. Business needs to become a human experience. If we look at this, we clearly see that each step we take in growing our businesses, it's a step we take into our own becoming. We will not innovate business by a new theory or a new book, but by transforming our way of being. Walking the path to renew business requires us first to embrace the multitudes, to embrace our humanity, and then innovate humanity. Those businesses are collective laboratories. They are ecosystems which are life-giving rather than life-taking. They are centered around human beings, not doings. The role of a leader of the 21st century who wants to innovate business is the one of a social architect, capable of creating a space for all robots, humans, to perform at their best. They are capable of creating holistic business models where creativity, imagination, where our own humanity is fully embraced and collectively valued, rather than segregated and shamed. We can no longer simulate our humanity. That's the job of robots. Walking the path to innovate business can be brutal and lonely. We are constantly asked to bring our humanity in every task we have to perform. These leaders have to have the courage to talk business in rhyme as a way of engaging both rationally and emotionally, so to drive superior performance. According to the Medical Humanities and Art program, poetry supports the enhancement of empathy and compassion in doctors. The empathy developed by the poets is very critical to those executives who want to feel, connect, and understand their customers, their stakeholders, their employees, their communities. The creative energy, the emotional power, the complexity of communicative skills that poetry brings relates directly to the practical need of innovating and problem solving that businesses face constantly. The founder of Harman Industry once said to the New York Times that he asked his executives to go hunt for poets and hire them as managers. Yet it's not easy. My personal motto is, there is no way to inclusion. Inclusion is the way. I had to start with myself. I had to start re-including the poet within me. To create new stories, we need to enter those stories and understand what moves inside of us. And to be able to write new stories, we need to create new languages. At the same way, to innovate business, not only we have to enter the world of business with a transformed way of being, but we need to create a new language to talk about it. A year ago, I said, I want to talk business in poetry and poetry in business. And today, I'm calling you to talk business in rhyme. Leader, you'll never know till you stand up. There is enough space within you, enough space to contain the multitudes. Stand up, speak up, say no. No to fragmentation. No to moving faster. Slow down. Know your multitudes. Learn what moves inside and outside of them. Turn towards the truth. Stand up. Speak up. The whisper said, I want to talk business in rhyme. Leader, thank you.